Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sarel van Grennen, aka Mr. VG, and welcome to our third video in the series about simple interest. In this series, we are walking this road of first of all deriving a formula for simple interest, which we did in the first video. In the second video, we looked at application of that formula. So in our first video, we started by deriving that formula there at the bottom. The one there, A equals to P, 1 plus I times N. In our second video, we then looked at, but how do we apply that formula? First of all, by calculating the A value. And I did the interest just for interest's sake. And then we did how to calculate the P value if I give you the A. And a very important little tip that I gave in that video was to always draw a timeline. In grade 11 and 12, timelines are crucial for your financial mathematics. So it is important that you apply that for me. Not actually for me, but for yourself. In this video now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to look at how to calculate I, your interest rate, and how to calculate the number of years a simple interest will be in a bank account. Let's start by looking at how to calculate the number of years. So the question is, a loan charges 20% per annum simple interest. Yukani loans 20,000 Rand, but owes 32,000 Rand at the end. How long did the loan last? I'm going to ask you try this sum yourself and see if you can do it. First of all, start with your timeline. Starting at time 0, that is now. But I don't know how long, that's the whole question. First of all, the 20%, I love to put on my timeline. They're telling me simple interest, so I know which formula I've got to use. Yukani loans 20,000 Rand, so that is my P value, so that's right at the beginning. But owes 32,000 Rand at the end, so there is my 32,000 Rand at the end. How long did the loan last? So that is your N value. I don't know how long. So let's start with the formula. A equal to P, 1 plus I times by N. I'm going to substitute the values that I've got in. There's the 32,000, the 20,000 into P, and then into I, the 20%. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, remember, we are looking for N. So step by step, we are going to have to get N alone. How on earth are we going to do that? Well, what I'm first of all going to try and do is I'm going to try and get my bracket alone. How do I get rid of the 20,000? I'm going to divide both sides by 20,000. If I do that, on the left-hand side, I'm left with 1,6. On the right-hand side, I'm now left with the bracket. You will see I threw away the actual brackets because they don't play a role anymore. There's nothing in front of, or well, there's a 1 in front of the brackets. There's not nothing. There is a 1, but that 1 doesn't affect the rest. Now I have to solve for N. So I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides, which leaves me with 0,6 equal to 20 over 100 times by N. How do I get rid of times by 20 over 100? Well, I'm going to divide by 20 over 100 on both sides. Fortunately, you've got a calculator, which then gives you N to be 3. What does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? This means that it's going to take, or the loan was in the bank for 3 years. Okay? The loan lasted 3 years. That's more what I wanted to say. For us, this is very important because of the future applications of these formulas. Higher purchase, that's coming up in a video later on. Second question. Calculate the simple interest that will grow 30,000 Rand to 52,500 in 5 years' time. I want you to try the sum yourself. Then, when you are done, you can look at the way that I analyzed it. When I look at the sum, they're telling me that it is simple interest. So I know I've got to go to my formula. The 30,000 Rand, is that your A value or your P value? Well, let's draw our timeline and let's look. It's asking me 30,000 Rand is right at the beginning. And it grows to 52,500. That's at the end. And they're telling me it's in 5 years' time. So in other words, the 30,000 Rand is the P. The 52,500 is your A, that's your end value. And the N is the 5 years. By substituting into that formula, I get that. What am I trying to solve? I'm trying to solve for I. I'm going to repeat the same process that I did in solving for N, in solving for I. So step by step, I'm going to divide by 30,000 Rand straight through, which gives me a value of 1,75, and I'm left with that 1 plus 5i. If I subtract 1 on both sides, I get 0,75 equal to 5i. Dividing by 5 on both sides, I've got my interest rate to be 0,15 or 15%. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I can therefore ask you to either calculate A, P, I, or N in simple interest sums. And you've got to be able to roll with it. I hope that you are fine with it and that you are going to practice now on how to do these sums step by step by step. Please remember that your teacher is going to mark step by step by step. Don't just go and punch in values on your calculator and hope and pray for the best. Well, this is Mr. VG signing out. I hope you enjoyed this video and you're going to tune into our next video, which is a more advanced sum on higher purchase. Keep well. Cheers.